All right, welcome back to the State and Local Sports Show here with Mark Tennis of CalHighSports.com, the co-founder and editor. And though it's not football season, some news coming out today that in Pop Warner, the Associated Press says kickoffs will now being banned in the 3 youngest age divisions. I'm personally very happy about this, and honestly, I wouldn't mind if they banned kickoffs at most levels. Bodies that age, just until they're teenagers, just aren't able to take those kind of hits the same way. What are your first reaction when you hear that Pop Warner is trying to stifle some of the injuries that occur on those kickoffs and those violent collisions?
Definitely, probably a step in the right direction. I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't really be cared that much either way. But I would say that the worst injury in a football game I ever saw in person was a player at Palo Alto High School who was suffered a serious neck injury, and I later learned he was paralyzed. That was on an opening kickoff, and I'll never forget that. And I know historically, kickoffs, the ratio of high injuries, tough injuries on those plays are definitely up there. I think a lot of times you see a lot of backups on kickoff return and kickoff coverage teams, and maybe they don't tackle correctly and things like that, like a regular defender would. So I definitely think it probably would, from a safety standpoint, it's certainly worth considering.
Just locally, and people remember the tragedy from East Union in 2005. Matthew Zaragoza Van Gelderen was on a kickoff, and that's how he sustained the injury that would eventually take his life. And so, to me, it would be great to try to scale that back, especially with kids. That's one of these rules that's being changed. I was listening to Colin Cowherd today on Fox Sports Radio, and just talking about the immense amount of change in sports. You got football's point after and these kind of safety rules, hockey's overtime format, baseball's instant replay, and now there's this three-point revolution in basketball. I know last year the Warriors shot so many threes, everyone said you're crazy, and then they won a championship. Now about between a third and a fourth of the league are shooting, well over 2,000 three-pointers per year in the NBA. And, kids are emulating this, the Steph Currys of the world, even the Klay Thompsons, Damian Lillard, this kind of thing. Does this concern you at all at the high school level as, these kids try to develop a wide range of skills, both with their high schools and with their AAU programs, instead of just becoming these adept distance shooters, which television, TNT, and ESPN are showing them, hey, millions of dollars go into doing this now? Yeah,
well, 10 years ago and even 5 years ago, it was everyone's dunking. They all want to be like LeBron, fly to the rim, big time jam, slam, bams. Everybody get excited. And whether they're shooting threes or just dunking, you're right, a lot of kids are not getting the bigger picture on passing the ball, on sharing, on rebounding, correct defensive positioning, all kinds of real basic things, the fundamentals, team play, those kind of things suffer. It was kind of a breath of fresh air this year watching Chino Hills play, our number one team in the state, because Lonzo Ball definitely can pass. He's really a well-rounded player, and sometimes he doesn't shoot that well. But even when he doesn't shoot that well, his team does extremely well and wins a lot of games. So when you see players like that, there are a lot of players that maybe are shooting the three too much. I think what you see the most of all is the big guys, your centers and your power forwards that a few years ago didn't go outside and shoot, and now everybody goes outside and pops three-pointers. DeMarcus Cousins can shoot threes.
He can.
Watch him practice sometimes. He never misses.
He's one of the most, he's one of the few big men that could have played in the 90s, but you see him go out and launch. If you had seen Hakeem or Patrick Ewing do that in the 90s, you probably would have taken him out of the game for 5 minutes to make sure his blood sugar was okay.
No,
not anymore.
The last time I went to the Kings, me and my son saw DeMarcus make, I think, 18 straight three-pointers practicing. It was just, he never missed. It was just one swish after another. Like, this guy's a phenomenal shooter.
Mark Tennis does a weekly column for us at the Record, stockandpractice.com. I'm excited for it every week, especially this week, though, as a baseball nerd. I really, really love your column topic. You compiled a historical list. Could you tell us a little bit about it? It's still yet to come out.
It's still yet to come out, and it may be delayed a few days because it's rather long. It's rather long.
Worth the wait.
Yeah, most of the columns I write for the Record are about 600 to 700 words. This one's about double that. And what I decided to do was write one on the top 25 baseball players from the Stockton, San Joaquin area in the last 25 years. And it's based on an article, a feature I did for Sports Stars magazine. I did the top 25 players of the last 25 years. Kind of has a nice ring to it. From Northern California, they had guys like Brandon Crawford and Jimmy Rollins and CeCe Sabathia and Dustin Pedroia, a lot of really great players. And I thought, why don't I try to do something locally? Well, none of those guys are local, but it is a pretty fun list of the top 25 players in the last 25 years. A couple players, of course, have been in the majors. Dallas Braden is probably the biggest name people would know. And he was actually very good his senior year in high school. When you read about his senior year of high school, it's quite impressive considering that was the year his mother actually, passed away and died. And here he was, having an 8-3 record. He was one of the pitchers of the year in the area. And to do that while undergoing what must have been a horrible experience is pretty hard to believe, really. And there were some other really great players. A lot of players from St. Mary's, obviously, but I put in a few small school kids as well.
I was really hurt that you didn't put me on that list. Just kidding. Speaking of baseball, the Sac Joaquin section's baseball and softball brackets being released probably as we speak. Not an easy job for the playoff committee today. I'm not envious of them, especially for the section Division I South. St. Mary's an obvious number 1 seed, Bayer from Modesto an obvious number 2 seed, but beyond that, all kinds of contradictory head-to-head matchups and different ups and downs of the year. Teams like Grigori, Lincoln, Bear Creek, and McNair. I know you're not a fan, especially in baseball, of the head-to-head matchup.
No, I think the head-to-head matchup's hard to do in baseball. You don't know, who the pitchers are in particular games. A lot of coaches experiment with different lineups early in the season. I think what I look more at would be more of a combination of head-to-head and also league strength. Looking at how leagues have done in the playoffs in recent years, I think would guide me more toward playoff seedings than the head-to-head. But, the head-to-head is important. If a team has beaten somebody twice or 3 times, then you have to look at it.
All right. Well, CaliHighSports.com, the Gold Club membership, less than $20 a year, less than $2 a month. All your state record books, insider content, all the stories you could want about high school sports across the state of California. And as always, Mark, thanks for joining us. Really looking forward to that column. Look for it probably coming up this weekend in the Record.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks.